Hello and welcome to this series of videos which pulls together from several models and frameworks that can help us engage in the complexities of 21st century church, with a main focus on group dynamics, all of which we've been exploring in our podcast From the Platform. These videos lean in their application towards self-awareness and group awareness within church-specific issues, where there may be a variety of opinions and differing levels of complexity, but should be broadly applicable to all sorts of different groups. Designed as short introductions to 8 models, these videos will also attempt to be integrated into what I see as an overarching theme. Some of the frameworks we'll look at in this series include Ian McGilchrist's The Master and His Emissary, Otto Scharmer's Levels of Listening from Theory U, Jordan Peterson and his theory around chaos, order and the hero's journey, John Vervaeke and The Ways of Knowing, Jonathan Hyatt and the Moral Matrix, David Cantor's 4-player model from Structural Dynamics, Eric Berne's Transactional Analysis, Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication, and Ken Wilber's Integral Stages of Development from Integral Theory. As you may be quick to realise, these are all white, male, Western academics. They fit the WEIRD acronym: Western, educated, industrialised, rich, democratic. And most of their research is carried out within this same group, and so there's already a skew here towards a certain demographic. And it should be noted that the creation of abstractions, the sort we're going to look at, does follow in the Western psychological tradition. And it must be stressed that there are other valid and useful worldviews, but as a white Westerner myself, these are the ones I've gravitated to. In an attempt to highlight this commonality between the frameworks, I've made a 3D model. As we move through this series, this will be used as a reference and a marker that brings us back to a bigger picture. Everything here in this model distills down into demonstrating how we can be either open or closed in a situation or towards an idea. Now, none of these frameworks we'll encounter are absolute truths or exact formulas for how things play out in groups, but are useful overviews, lenses with which to see situations through that pull useful information into focus. But ironically, where we start with Ian McGilchrist is with a warning against even kind of what I'm trying to do here with these videos, and that is that we're becoming too abstract to society in the West. Therefore, something we need to utilise from other traditions is an embodied practice. As our first video will outline and establish for the rest of this series, abstract ideas and embodied practice are 2 ways of attending to the world, so we need a balance. Along with these explainer videos, I invite you to maybe try and practice various techniques, including active listening, breathing, meditation, presencing, and others. But let's ask, why bother with any of this? Why not just get stuck into some Bible study instead as Christians? How are these frameworks useful or practical? Well, they can be seen as vehicles, tools, or maps, in that it's where they can take us that's important. They can help us to navigate our way through what's happening in group interactions. Like you might use a concordance as a tool to become more aware of literal translations in the Bible, the main purpose for these maps and tools is to become aware of your own behaviour and why you may feel and behave the way you do when discussing in groups. With this understanding, you'll hopefully be able to get some distance on group situations and, in a sense, step outside of yourself to gain a better perspective of what's going on, in the same way a map can give you an aerial view of where you're going. Here's an analogy. Imagine a kind of app store of ideas. Each video in this series is like an installation package for the light version of the idea. To get the pro version, you need to read the book. For example, in video 6, we'll unpack the specific set of meanings for the words move, follow, oppose, and bystand. Now, without installing the idea, by watching the video, these just appear to be 4 random words, but when you are aware of the framework and how it uses these words, you can become compatible with other people that also have an understanding of that idea. I feel our churches run a certain set of apps already. Really good ones for prayer, worship, the breaking of bread service, for example. But I feel the software we're using to organise church and have group discussions is very outdated and needs upgrading. So how can these frameworks be relevant to a Christian? To me, it seems clear that Jesus is an expert in this ability to step outside of the situation, take that wider perspective, enabling him not only to cross the social and political boundaries of the time, but also to cross that ultimate boundary of life to death itself, while still holding on to his faith in the broader reaches of God's love, to not leave him in the grave, but to be resurrected to life. This God's eye view on the world enabled him to set an amazing standard in terms of the love he shows and asks us to emulate. The apostles too provide us with guidance on how to achieve this, providing signposts on the way. I believe these frameworks, along with other practices, can complement this, and we should always test their spirits, as it were, to make sure that they align appropriately with the overarching message of love that Jesus shows to us. So thank you for watching. I hope you get as much out of these videos as I have by making them. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you.